All right. Thank you very much for this privilege even to take this section at this time. My name is Oputi Joel Chukunedum, and I'll be running through for this week my quiz, the quiz access assignment. So for this week, we've been asked to solve certain problems to fill in these financial statements. It's going to be the income statement as it is written on the screen of my laptop. Then the next one is the statement of retained earnings. And then the next one that we'll be looking at today is the balance sheet as it is here. And so we are going to be solving all of these with the information above as they are listed above. And so I'll go to the first one that we're going to be solving together, that which is the income statement. Okay, so as it is there, it's a required information. Use the following information for exercises 25 to 27 below. Now, the following information applies to the questions displayed below. Carmen Camry operates a consulting firm called Help Today, which began operations on December 1st. On December 31st, the company's records show the following selected accounts and amounts for the month of December. And so the first assignment here is to fill in the income statements with the information above. So now we already know that for income statement, the formula is revenue less expenses. That's revenue minus expenses. And then we get the net income for the income statement. And so we are going to be sorting out all the revenue here and we'll feed them here. But before then, let's look at the heading. The heading of on the heading, we need to fill in the dates. And so to fill in the dates from the options we have there, is it for month for as of December 31st, and then for month ended December 31st. So we'll be using month ended December 31st because, like we know, for the income statement, it runs through a period of time. And so this is from the 1st of December through 31st of December. And so that is for the date. Now, the next thing we'll be looking at is the first thing we'll be filling here is the revenue. And so I'll go and then I'll click revenues. So we are going to sort out the revenues from the information above. Let's look at the revenues. The very first revenue here is, let's see, we have cash. No, that's for balance sheet. We have consulting revenue. Consulting revenue is $26,910. So the very first revenue we'll be looking at is consulting revenue, as it is there, right there. And so the price for consulting revenue is $26,910. So $26,910. Yeah, that is for consulting revenue. And so let's see if there's any other revenue that we need to add here. I am not seeing any other revenue. It's just consulting revenue. And so the every other stuff that I see there is the expenses. And so therefore the total revenue for this statement is $26,910. So let's sort out the expenses. So before we start, we will list the next subheading, which is expenses, right? Yeah, expenses. And so let's see what are the expenses we have there. I can see rent expense. So rent expense is $9,440. That's right here. That's right there, right? So let's go, let's sort out rent expense. rent expense. It is 4,000, right? Am I right? No, sorry. It's $9,440. So rent expense is $9,440. Now, when you fill in these figures, you need to be very careful so that you don't enter wrong figures. Once one figure is wrong, it's going to be a problem because it's going to affect your total. So that's why I'm trying to be extremely careful. Okay, so the next expense I see there is salaries expense. Salaries expense is 5,500. Yeah, that's it. Salaries expense 5,500. And so we sort out salaries expense, which is 5,500, 5,500. Okay. And so the next expense I see there is telephone expense. Telephone expense. Telephone expense. Good. Telephone expense is $750. $750. And then the next one is miscellaneous expense. So miscellaneous expense is miscellaneous expenses is $420. $420. Right? I don't know. So let's check if we have other expenses in these accounts. Resulting revenue, no. All right, I can't see any other expense. I can't find any other expense here. Okay, so I think that is for all. So obviously, total revenue is $26,900. Then total expenses is $16,110. Now, for us to get net income in the income statement, net income, which is the final total, we have to subtract total expenses from total revenue. And so to do that, let's use Excel. Let's see what we have here. $26,910. So I will use Excel to do this. So it's equals to, sorry, is equals to $26,910 minus, let's see what's there. 26,910 minus 16,110. 16,110. So we enter. So it's 10,000. So net income is 10,800. So we'll go back to solving for net income, 10,800. So that is for income statement. So we've been able to fill the revenue and we've been able to fill the expenses, and then we enter, and the total of our net income is 10,800 after subtracting expenses from total expenses from total revenue. So let's go to the next one, which is the retained earning statement, or statement of retained earning. Now, in the statement of retained earning, just as we fill in the date for the income statement in the heading section, we'll also fill in same date, because it's like the income statement. It has it's a record for a period of time. So for this, it started from December 1st, according to the instruction here, to December 31st. So now, for the retained earning, like we already know, the formula that we use to fill in this is beginning retained earning plus net income minus dividend, that's less dividend, and then we get the ending retained earning, right? So now the beginning retained earning here, it has already been written down, but It was not written. So for this particular company, that is the Camry, the consulting firm that he opened called Help Today, the beginning retained earning as of the information there is 0 because there was no previous transaction. And so less net income. Now we were able to, not less net income, plus or net income. So we're already feeling net income, which is, we sorted that out, I think 10,800 or thereabouts. And so we are right, 10,800 from the income statement, because this is how they are related. And so we'll bring in the net income from the income statement, net income from the income statement, which is 10,800. And then we would subtract dividends. So less dividends, right? Less dividends. And so let's find out the dividend from this statement. So where's the dividend? Okay, from here, from the information given to us, the dividend is 5,890. 5,890. That is the dividend, $5,890, right? And so the ending retained earning, which is as of December 31st, retained earnings December 31st is 4,910 after subtracting dividend from net income and beginning retained earning. And so that is for the statement, the retained earning statements. I think we are good with this. And so let's move to the next one. You would feel free to ask any question in occasions you are not very clear. I'll be waiting to answer your question when I post this video in the discussion board. Okay, so now for the next one, we have the balance sheet. Now, the balance sheet tells us it's officially, I would say, it is a representation of the accounting equation, right? The account equation, which is equals to assets, it's equals to liabilities plus equity. That is for the balance sheet, right? And so now for the balance sheet, we'll start by filling the date. So unlike the income statement and the retained statement of retained earning, the balance sheet talks about a particular point in time. That is why we'll put as of December 31st. Yes, a particular point in time. That is what the balance sheet refers to. And so here, the very first stuff we'll be looking out for is the assets. So let's fill in the assets. Let's go look out for the assets, right? And so for the assets, we start with the current assets. Like we already know, we know what's current assets. Current assets are those assets that we can easily liquidate, right? They are not like fixed assets or non-current assets. So we start with the current assets. So the very first current asset here is cash. And so we're going to fill in the information for cash, right? So cash here is $25,226. $260, sorry, $25,260. So I fill in $25,260. That is for cash. And so the next current asset here is account receivable. Account receivable. So we'll do account receivable. An account receivable is $22,270. $22,270. I'm trying to be very careful with the figure so I don't mess it up. Now, the next current asset here is office supplies. So office supplies. Okay, good. office supplies. So for office supplies, we have 5,000. It's here, $5,130. $5,130. And the next one here is office equipment. Um, Office equipment can be current, can be still can be non-current assets. I think we don't have. I can't find any other current assets here outside office equipment. So we'll go for office equipment. So office equipment, office equipment is the next asset there, and that is 19,900. 19,900. Good. And so the next asset here, it's not a current asset, it's a non-current asset. Land, it's like a fixed asset. Land. And so land is 43,930. 43,930. 43,930. 43,930. And so that is for the asset. I don't think I can find any other asset here. So the total assets, therefore, I think this is the total asset, right? So the total assets will be $116,000 for $116,490. And so now the next item we'll be looking at for is the liability. Liability. We also have current liability and non-current liabilities. So the liabilities. So let's look at the liabilities here. Those are the things that the company is owing, that creditors have rights over, right? Accounts payable. Accounts payable, it's a current liability. Account on credit, the company, it's the credit that the company holds, right? It's 10,780. So let's go for account payable. Accounts payable, 10,780. 10,000, sorry, 780. 780. Okay, I can't find any other liabilities here. I can't find any other. I think that is the only liability that is there. So therefore, the total amount for liability is 10,780. And so now that we have the liability, so we would now go for the equity, right? And so we'll go and fill in for equity. So for equity, we have to look out for common stock first. Common stock, let me see what we have for common stock here. And common stock is, okay, common stock is here. It's $100,800, right? $100,800. That is for common stock. And so the next stuff we'll look at for here, from this information that is given, we'll fill in the retained earning. So you see that the statement of accounts, the financial statements are all linked. The income statement is linked to the retained earning statement, statement of retained earning. Then the balance sheet is also linked with the statement of retained earning. So now to get retained earning here, we'll look out for retained earning. So let's see. To get retained earnings from here, good, it has already been solved. And so we have to go back to we have to go back to get that from the statement of retained earnings account that we prepared. So the retained earnings is $4,910. So we'll just take this to the next one, $4,910. $4,910. $4,910, right? And so that is for that. So now the total equity is $105,710. So the total liability is $10,780. So now we add liabilities to equity. So one way we know if this account is actually balanced, if it is right, is to compare the assets with the liability plus equity. So asset, like we said, is equals to liabilities plus equity. So this segment is for liabilities plus equity, while the right segment is for assets. So now asset is $116,490. So we would see if it is right. Okay, so yeah, I'm not filling the final, which is total liability and equity. Total liabilities and equity, it's $116,490. So this, from looking at assets and equity, since they balance, then it means that the balance sheet is balanced. I think that's all that is required of us for this assignment. If you have any question, feel free to ask. So I will just submit this assignment, and then let me quickly cross-check to see if what I have done is right or not. So follow me. Let's go through. I'll submit it, and then I'll come through. I'll quickly go through to see if what we have solved so far is right. These are the previous ones. So I'll quickly skip through to 11 and 11 through 13. So just bear with me quickly. Let's see if what we have done is okay, is right. Okay, good. You say you got this question right. Okay, that was in the previous attempt. So let's see. All right. Everything here is okay. So we got the date, revenues, consulting revenue, the column for revenue, the column for expenses, and the right figures. We feel that. So the income statement is intact. We got that. And so let's go for the okay, the statement of retained earnings. We also got everything right. It's intact. We didn't skip any of the information that is needed so far. And let's come here to see for the balance sheet. All right, we got everything right. So we filled in all the right information, and that is the assignment. If you have any question, feel free to ask in the discussion board. I'll be there throughout the week to answer your questions. Thank you very much for participating, and God bless you.